First step, we chose a banner. Second step, we prepared it on the take-up roll. I did not name this thing when I loaded the media. I just simply loaded the media. Then I went into the printer panel, and after building the color work for this, so I built the color work from the ground up. It was real simple, 3 steps. And then I cloned it and named it double-sided. So the name of this on the panel is Ultraflex Blackout Scrim Banner Double-Sided. It is named double-sided. Then I went into Onyx, chose the 300 DPI rendering intent, and I enabled that for double-sided printing. I told it anytime this 300 DPI is selected, it would automatically print double-sided, which is what it did here. I sent the print. In this case, I'm doing 12 by 18, butted right up against each other, no bleed lines, no compensation for scaling. I have the temperature set a little low. It shouldn't really deform any. There should be very minimal shrinkage. And then in Onyx, I would normally, what you want to do is you want to set it for print each job individually. And then if you want to send a queue, you do, in this case, I would send, let's say, 10 groups of this same cluster of 16. Now, Onyx will allow you to print double-sided printing doing step and repeat. It will not allow you to nest. It does not allow nesting. It will allow for step and repeat. A warning about step and repeat. If you choose to use step and repeat, keep in mind that you don't want to print too far or too long without re-registering. It needs to have a registration mark over a reasonable distance, let's say 6 feet, 8 feet. The longer you run without a registration mark, the more inaccurate you're going to be at the end of the print. Now, I understand that certain long pole banners, they might even be 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet long. What you'll have to do then is account for it in scaling, or give yourself a little bit of extra room on the top for the fold over, which is not uncommon. And that way, if there is a little bit of inaccuracy, it's really not going to make much of a difference because you've given yourself an extra inch at the top that whatever the inaccuracy will be, it will compensate for it. In my case, I do not have scaling adjusted for, nor do I have any bleed lines. Everything is pretty much as is. And I send a group over, all queued up in Onyx, and I just have one after another print. When I'm ready to print double-sided, this is side A that I'm printing now. I go into the panel here after I've loaded everything the way I want, and I choose Settings. Never mind. That's correct. Settings. Substrate. And then here where it says double-sided printing, I turn it on. Now, it is also turned on in the RIP. And it shouldn't matter, the RIP, if it has information that the media at 300 DPI in this mode is a double-sided printing mode, the printer should recognize that. But just as an insurance policy, I line everything up. It sort of gets my mind around where I am. The RIP is set to a double-sided mode. The images in my case are stepped and repeated, but they are not nested. And I am choosing 300 DPI as the mode for double-sided printing. If you want to, some medias, you may find that you need to do 2 different ICC profiles for each side because they're different. If you choose to do that and you don't use one profile for both sides, what I usually do is I build one in 300 DPI for side A, and then side B I do in 600 DPI, and that allows me a very easy way to say print side A at 300, print side B at 600. That way I can do both in the same mode. The other thing nice about that is usually when you adjust, and we'll go over this in a second video, for possible scaling needs, because side A is usually one that shrinks a little bit, not side B. Once you've applied the temperature, side B is stable. Side A is the one that shrinks just a little bit. So usually what I'll do is I'll apply a profile for side A as 300 dpi and apply the scaling. Side B, on the other hand, I run a different color build at 600 dpi and I apply no scaling. And 600 and 300 rendering intent, well, for all practical purposes on a banner, there's no difference from one to the other. You're not going to see it whatsoever, even at 12 by 18 on a textured banner. You'd have to be very small printing on like some kind of photo paper. So 300 dpi is your standard rendering intent resolution. But in this case, I left the 600 on there because it allows me to adjust for scaling. In this case, not adjust for scaling, and then also to apply, if you want, a separate ICC for side B. So side A and side B use different color builds, color profiles, because the two sides of the banner can be different.